This is the Aussie Report. In this episode, we're going to talk about something ugly. It's not a rumour, it's not a blurry phone clip from the internet. This is body-worn camera footage, CCTV, court findings, police records, and an ABC Four Corners investigation that should make every Australian ask one simple question. When police do the wrong thing, who actually holds them accountable? The documentary is called Brutal Force, and it focuses on New South Wales Police, where Four Corners examined alleged and proven misconduct, including cases where police violence was caught on camera, but accountability seemed to vanish behind closed doors.
This is pretty much where it happened, just here. If you just come down here, that tree there is where she was sitting when the police turned up, just here, and she ran and they chased her. There was the assault essentially happened all just here, right in front of us. How does it make you feel?
Pretty horrid now.
Yeah.
Now that we're here, it's pretty bad.
They took an oath to protect the community, to protect the people, and that's not what they did here.
Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't listen. Go, please. Just please go. Please go.
Down. Let him go. Let him go. Oh, fuck. Let him go. Let him go.
She was sitting in a gutter and scared.
There were security cameras everywhere, here and there. What does it say to you that they did it in front of them?
I just didn't care. They knew they were there.
She didn't even have anywhere to go.
No.
One of the most disturbing cases is Jodi Knott. Jodi was a woman living with schizophrenia. In 2023, the police were called while she was naked in a Western Sydney street, clearly in the middle of a mental health crisis. She needed help. What she got was violence. According to the ABC, the footage shows plainclothes officers kicking her, stomping on her, dragging her by her hair and using pepper spray at close range. A district court judge later described what happened as gratuitous cruelty.
Carefree, spirited, crazy woman. Loud. Funny. No harm in her at all. No harm in her body. And love for family.
Nicole Allen and Cherie Castagna are cousins. They grew up in a large extended family, spending long summers with other cousins, including the irrepressible Jodi Knott.
She would take off, she would go, she would live her life to its fullest. Even with all her trauma and her mental health, she was still a happy person.
She was mentally ill from a very young age, but it just got worse, obviously, as she got older, and then substances and addictions. It's pretty hard. But there wasn't Jodi. She was just a lost little soul that just needed help now and then.
Jodi was brutally assaulted by two police officers 3 years ago.
It's as sickening as it is shocking. A mentally ill woman in a psychotic episode brutally assaulted by the same people meant to protect her.
This is the first time Jodi's been named.
Jodi died of cancer 18 months later. The two officers, Nathan Black and Timothy Trouch, pleaded guilty to common assault. Black received a non-parole period of 3 years and 3 months. Trouch received 3 years. But the deeper horror is not just what happened on the street. It is what the footage suggests about culture. One officer later sent messages about the incident. The ABC reported one message said both pepper spray cans had been emptied. Another referred to the body-worn footage and said, "We caved her." That is not just force. That is cruelty with a receipt. Then there is Brad Kellson. In November 2021, Brad was arrested at Blacktown after police responded to a domestic violence call. The ABC reports the arrest was later found to be unlawful. Inside the police station, body cam and CCTV captured a senior constable throwing Brad around and kneeing him 5 times while he was pinned down. Brad ended up with around a dozen fractured ribs and a punctured lung. He spent 4 days in intensive care. Then came the second punch. Police charged Brad with assaulting police and resisting arrest. The magistrate later threw out the charges. The court found excessive force, clear collusion between officers, and that one officer had lied on the stand.
I remember going to the counter.
The same officer who slammed Brad onto the metal bench, Mark Davis, now hurls him towards the holding cells. He then grabs him by the neck and throws him onto the cell's metal bench. Mark Davis is more than twice Brad's weight. While Brad struggles, pinned to the ground under other officers, Davis knees him 5 times.
And this is the rotten core of the story. The camera shows one thing, the paperwork says another, the court sees through it. The internal system still disappears into the cupboard like a guilty cockroach. Four Corners also looked at the case of NRL player Tom Starling, who was arrested after a confrontation at a bar in 2020. Former Detective Kurt Hayward said the CCTV did not match the police account and said it looked like overcharging to justify what had happened. Again, the theme repeats. Force first, charges second. Accountability later, maybe if someone fights hard enough. And that is the real scandal here. The ABC reported that New South Wales Police paid out $40 million in legal payouts and court costs last financial year. It also reported 428 civil suits were filed that year. That is roughly 2 cases every working day. Four Corners also reported that over the 5 years to 2024, New South Wales Police average about 1,000 misconduct findings a year after internal investigations, but only about 2% led to charges against an officer. Let that sink in. 2%. The machine finds misconduct, but the machine rarely bites its own gears. And the official watchdog, the Law Enforcement Conduct Commission, has been warning about body-worn cameras too. In New South Wales, officers are not always required to activate body cam footage when using police powers. The watchdog has recommended that this should change, saying officers should be required to switch cameras on when exercising statutory powers or when an interaction is likely to lead there. Because the footage matters, it protects the public, it protects the good police, and exposes the bad police. That is why this documentary matters. It is not anti-police to demand accountability. It is pro-community, it is pro-truth, and frankly, it is pro-good policing. Because the officers doing the job properly should not have to carry the stink of those who abuse power and then hide behind the badge. The question now is what happens next. Will New South Wales Police make body cam activation mandatory when powers are being used? Will internal misconduct findings be made more transparent? Will officers who lie in court face real consequences? And will people in mental health crises finally be met with care instead of force? Because what Four Corners has shown is not just violence. It is a system where violence can be filmed, challenged, even condemned by courts, and still too often be buried behind closed doors. But once the public has seen that footage, the door can never be closed again. This is the Aussie Report.